guys, JD from Sworkies here. I'm going to go ahead and kick us off with another video of some Clash of Clans triples. So we have a few different variations of Riders and Valkyries. Obviously on the defensive side of things, it is a little frustrating getting wrecked by Riders and Valkyries all the time, but we can have some fun putting out some different variations of it, kind of playing around and having some fun, wrecking some bases on the offensive side. Our last war was another perfect war. We've had quite a few. Obviously, a lot of clans that are competitive have probably had the same. We do pretty well about not getting too many draws. We have a lot of opportunities to win as long as we continue to get triples. We just kind of have to get through this meta and make sure we try to put up our best defenses, and it's been pretty good for us so far. So our first replay is Rohit, and we'll go ahead and let's dive into that one. So he's using a pretty standard just Rider Valkyrie army, and with this army, he's a lot braver than I am, which we have a few guys that are pretty brave with some of the attacks they do. Hitting opposite of the Town Hall. The Town Hall is real deep on one side of the base, but he does a great job of setting up a good funnel, especially with those open corners. It allows him to get a good funnel set up and times it out perfectly to where his army can kind of push through the core. A couple rage towers with some pretty big major defenses on either end of the base here, and with that, he does a good job of timing up that warden ability. It's a fairly early warden ability, but those ricochet cannons, those are two of the biggest defenses that can really wreck a Rider Valkyrie army. Just the DPS and the hit points and the fact that it obviously hits troops behind it as well. But he brings so many free spells, he can get through some of that major stuff too in the core, but then he also holds back some free spells. So it's important to know that you want to hold back some free spells for the Town Hall if you're hitting it that late, especially. If you hit it early, which a lot of guys do, then you'll just use that early warden ability with some rage, and then make sure your freeze spells are for the major defenses behind it. And I've seen guys wreck bases that way as well. Then our next variation is going to be brought to you by Ernesto. So as we jump into Ernesto's attack here, go and grab it. So Ernesto is using a Queen Charge Recall with Riders and Valkyries. This is one that I kind of like to run too a little bit, as well as Super Rollers. But essentially, he's just kind of cutting out a portion of the base. This is kind of a pretty traditional ring base that we see kind of in the meta right now that's used to counter some of the Rider spam armies. But he's able to tackle this base and end up with the triple, obviously, but we can kind of show you the power here. So he's just diving in, trying to get as much value as he can while also cutting out a portion. And then he, at 6 o'clock, he has that Flame Flinger that's going to help set up the bottom side of the funnel, so that once troops start going through the base, then it just funnels them up towards the core area, and then they can just wreck the rest of the base. So attacking from 9 o'clock with the main push of his army. You just kind of watch. So that's the thing about these armies. Once you kind of set the pathing up, and I've talked about that in previous videos, the pathing is the biggest part that you need to really focus in on and nail down. And once you have that, then it's pretty much money as long as you can time the spells up. For me, on this type of base, I always end up running right through the Town Hall Poison, which kills off the main group of my army. But the way he times this up, and his heroes actually pull into the Town Hall to kind of prevent the rest of his army from going through that Town Hall Poison. Then his Kings in the kind of died through the Gauntlet ability, but the fact that the Phoenix brings it back Makes it hard for me to use anything other than the Phoenix on the king. I could see that going away at some point, but as of right now, it doesn't look like it. I haven't seen anything about it going away, but it's definitely more challenging if you lose your king through the gauntlet if you don't have the Phoenix. Like on my Town Hall 15, that's a pretty early 15. I don't have the Phoenix yet, and I die through the gauntlet all the time, and definitely kind of wrecks my attack. So it could potentially add some balance to the game if that does end up going away. All right, next up here we have Jacob, who is running another Rider Valkyrie army, this time with the OG spell, the Overgrowth. And he's going to attack directly into the Town Hall, which is, I see a lot of guys do it. To me, I think it's completely insane that this works because you get through the Town Hall poison, but with the new equipment for the heroes and everything else, kind of keeping troops alive through that makes it um, just a viable way to attack it. Back in the day, that never would have worked before the Town Hall 16 equipment came out. Now, as we watch this here, you can kind of see how he utilizes the Overgrowth spell, which you've probably seen a few different guys do it that way as well, or different YouTubers. But in this case, he's using the Queen and the Siege Barracks to really create a good funnel. And these type of bases, if the defenses make the Ritter split around the Town Hall, sometimes that can cause problems and just kind of makes everything go haywire. In this case, it works out just fine. This is similar to the base that Rohit attacked, except this one, spell towers are different. It had invisibility tower and then that poison in the core. Some major defenses in the core as well. But using that Overgrowth spell, personally, I think it might need some sort of nerf in the future. I don't know if just the radius of the way that you can use it or the duration, I'm not sure. But even at level 1, it seems fairly OP. But I know quite a few clan members and former clan members do like to use it, and it's definitely a strong and viable spell to use right now. As you just kind of watch through this, though, he just has so many troops alive still because of so many of those major defenses are frozen and invisible. So by that Overgrowth spell, that he can just kind of finish out the base with quite a few troops left over. All right, last but not least, we have Zan here with another triple. So he's running a Queen Charge Recall with the Overgrowth spell. He also has the Angry Jelly on the Queen. So you'll see kind of how he uses that. He got that upgraded pretty quickly. Just another fun way to attack, and he does a good job of creating that pathing again. That pathing is something that you'll hear me talk about a lot. If you don't get the pathing right, especially for some of these spam type armies, and this isn't necessarily a spam army, but a portion of it is you're laying out a large group of troops, similar to like a hybrid. One, you're setting at the path and you're trying to get some value, you're trying to get the clan castle. Definitely some good goals. So once he pulled out that clan castle, then he was able to draw them out towards the edge with that super barbarian, and then get everything going. Notice that these are all witches. We see a lot of ice golems in clan castles, but the witches here are not going to survive too long. Obviously, with those Valkyries in there, they can tear through that as well. So not too much to worry about there, but witches can slow down the heroes quite a bit, but with Valkyries out front, definitely helps. A lot of people run E-Titans in armies too. But he likes to use the Overgrowth spell on some of the major defenses, including the Eagle, to try to keep the hit points up for armies through the main push. Once he gets into that ridged up area, he still has quite a bit of his army left. So having that eagle and the multi-arch tower, all that frozen up and invisible, one, it helps with the pathing, but then two, obviously those are frozen, so they're not doing any damage, so we can get through some of those other major areas of the base. And then after that, he just kind of keeps rolling through. Heroes kind of help finish up. He still has a couple P.E.K.K.A.s alive from the siege barracks. Personally, I love the new level of the siege barracks with 2 P.E.K.K.A.s in there, especially with these type of armies, because they can stay alive for quite a while, because the riders are helping tear through everything, while the P.E.K.K.A.s are on the edge, kind of flanking for the main push of the army. Well, that is all we have for today. So here there are a few variations of the Root Rider Valkyrie. I hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys can have some fun working with this. Definitely viable for Legends League, war attacks, just different ways to tackle bases, and just to continue to get more 3 stars. All right, take care.